Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you, Shannon.
hmm I saw a video this morning that was just a woman standing Galaxy's Edge going, when you're in Star Wars, but you're not a Star Wars. Like, that's me.
Yeah. Yes. I accidentally, it wasn't on purpose, ended up at Hollywood Studios a couple years ago, like maybe 3 years ago on May the 4th. And it never entered my brain that I was there on May the 4th. And it was a trip. It was like a con and I mean like a convention, not like somebody was trying to trick me. That would be weird. So it was very fun to see everybody all dressed up and enjoying the park. And also the wait times on the rides, not bad.
Mm, yeah, that is true. I did a pre-trip report for the podcast for somebody who is there, and they're huge Star Wars people, but with their kids, they just thought maybe it might be a little too chaotic. So they're purposely skipping today at Hollywood
Mhm.
Studios and going to, I think, Animal Kingdom,
That's
which probably have a lot less Star Wars.
yeah, probably. Very
hmm
likely. Although, Avatar,
Chip and Dale get down.
they did yes, that's exactly what I would lean into for Star Wars representation. Animal Kingdom is Chip and Dale. Maybe Louie when they show up.
Okay. Anyway, so happy May the 4th to those who celebrate.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I was trying to think if there was the soundboard had Star Wars sounds, but no.
No, not yet, but I feel like that's something we could add, like some lightsaber or R2D2, beep beep.
Yeah. It's not here, but we'll here, happy Star Wars Day.
There we go. Er,
Anyway, so today we do have a little bit of news and the
mhm.
week ahead. And also, we want to talk about our new 2027 crowd calendar. And if there are comments or questions that are submitted while we're talking, we will get to those at the end.
Yeah.
What would you like to start with, Miss Thomas?
Um, well, we had a little bit of news last week that happened after we signed off on Thursday. One of those being that Magic Kingdom is getting a new ferry boat, which is very fun. This will come online in 2027, so it's not quite done yet. And it should hopefully improve the capacity between the Transportation and Ticket Center and Magic Kingdom. Um, as you know, there are two options to get from the TTC over to Magic Kingdom, the ferry boat and the monorail. It's very unlikely that we're going to see additional monorails added just because of the age of the whole system. But adding a new ferry boat will help with that.
Yeah, it's a huge capacity on these things, so that will definitely help. Do you remember when they had a dessert party on the ferry boats?
I do. I do remember when they had a dessert party on the ferry boat. I'm lucky enough to give it a try. It wasn't a bad option. It's definitely something that's I would consider again if they bring it back and if I needed to watch the fireworks without the sound
Mm,
of the
hmm
fireworks,
hmm
which is kind of
Yeah,
what you get.
exactly. That's what it's for. Good viewpoint. But if they don't have a dessert party, just strategically place yourself on the ferry boat at fireworks time.
Yes, or even over on the dock is not a bad place to watch
hmm
the fireworks. And it lets you kind of beat the crowds back to the parking lot if that's where you're headed. So that is always an option. So that's the first little piece of news. And then the other big news from this weekend is that Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is back open.
hmm
That's when you need the air horn, is for that.
Mm,
It was
I'm so sorry. Let's
there we go. There we go.
pretend like I'm a sloth.
Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is back open. Huge crowds, as you can imagine, for opening day. There was a little bit of a mishap. It appears that there was maybe a little fire that happened. Um,
Yes, if fire extinguishers were involved.
Hopefully that is nothing major. It doesn't appear to be since the attraction did get back up quickly. Just keep in mind that this is not something that's available during early entry. So if you want to ride it and you aren't going to get a lightning lane for it. It is a tier 1 on lightning lanes. And you have access to early entry. I would recommend maybe lining up back by the tangled bathrooms
Mhm.
and around that way. That way you can still get maybe one attraction done over in Fantasyland before you head over to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Uh-huh, I can't wait to ride it.
Me neither. It looks gorgeous. I'm really curious about this Rainbow Cavern scene.
Mhm.
It just looks really, really pretty.
It does. I'm excited to be there when the lines aren't so long.
Yeah, same, same. And then the last thing I wanted to mention before we talk about the crowd calendar is the fact that tomorrow, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party tickets do go on sale.
Uh-huh.
So,
We should probably get some.
yes. Also, something that I think is important for people to know is that while all the dates will sell out, they're not going to sell out tomorrow. Very likely. Usually the first parties to sell out are going to be the first party and then Halloween, and then the ones closest to Halloween kind of start to go. But you don't need to set an alarm and wake up to purchase them.
No, and I've also had people say that when it says on-site guests, does that include just deluxe? I think offering extended evening theme park hours and stuff that's just for deluxe has really confused newer people. But you just have to be at any Disney resort, value, moderate, deluxe, villa, or Swan Dolphin or Shades of Green.
Yes, and you can only purchase tickets for those dates when you have a reservation. So you can't make a reservation and then buy like for in August and then buy tickets in August, September, October. It's only over your reservation dates.
Yeah, true. Confirmed. Anyway, what are we going to talk about next?
The crowd calendar?
That's correct. If
I
he hadn't said that, I would have gone. I would have gone with it.
Okay, good, good. But no, we are going to talk about the crowd calendar because we have had so many questions about it, and we are happy to say that it is out now in all its glory.
It is. So Heather spends a lot of time working on her crowd calendar, and we want to provide explanations for all of the different recommendations that we have. Like, this is busy because of this event, for instance, or
Mhm.
this holiday. And so we hope that that is helpful to help you pick your dates. For people that don't know, red is the busiest.
Mhm.
Orange and yellow are kind of in the middle. And then you don't see a lot of green, but there is some green on there. A little bit in May, a lot in August, September. I think, yeah, August, September, having that dark green, that's the lowest crowds.
Yeah.
And then we go back into busy. So the first few months and last few months of the year, very busy. And if it has a circle on it, believe me, I've gotten so many DMs asking this. The circle on it means that there's an event associated with it. So that helps.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest takeaways we had when working on the crowd calendar this year is just how good Disney has gotten at
Mhm.
shaving off any of those other pockets of lower crowds that you used to find like in January and February, even in early March. Like there used to be times, and even in May, where you could go to Disney World and have decent crowds and decent weather.
Mhm.
But man, have they gotten good.
Yes, it has gotten good. One of our biggest challenges with the crowd calendar is that people will go to Disney World and come back and say, it was busy. You said it wasn't. And like, what are you comparing it to?
Yes.
Because it's never not busy.
Yeah, it's always busy, and Disney does a great job at not only filling in those gaps of times when the parks weren't as busy with different events. We've also seen trends in school breaks changing. So in the past, October used to be a relatively not busy time of the year, and now it's extremely busy with an influx of most school districts across the US now having some sort of fall break and capitalizing on Indigenous Peoples Day. So there has been, that shift in trend. Disney also is really good about during less busy times of the year to do things like decreasing the capacity on attractions. So for example, you have a ride like Space Mountain that has two sides on it. And during the busiest times of the year, both sides may be open, like Alpha and Omega, like both sides may be open. During less busy times of the year, they may only have one side open, or even less busy times of the day, one side open. And so the wait times always look very similar. So you have to kind of look towards other attractions that have a standardized capacity, like Spaceship Earth, like that capacity never changes, right? Because the number of cars that are available, that doesn't change. Same thing with like rides like Haunted Mansion, those Omni Mover attractions, those the capacity doesn't change dramatically. So those are kind of good indicators as to the crowds. Also, just how the park feels can be a decent indicator as to how busy it is, because if the walkways are so packed that you can't get through, and you very good indicator that it's a very busy time of the year. Even and then if the walkways are more empty, but the wait times are still higher than what you think, it probably just means that Disney is doing a good job on their end of adjusting the capacity of the major attractions to fit what they think the crowds are, because they don't want to staff it, right? They don't want to have extra people working. They don't want extra wear and tear on ride vehicles that they don't need to. And yeah, so the perceived busyness versus the actual wait times, there's a lot that goes into it.
Mm-hmm. And we can notice that, like Heather was talking about on her last trip, she was in the parks for a few days when the crowds were more moderate, and then it spiked and it was very noticeable.
Very, very noticeable. So yeah, there's a lot of a nuance in there, a lot of things to look at. And like you were saying, Shannon, it's as we've been going for years and years, and we know that lots of people have been going for years and years. And I think the advantage we have, though, versus somebody who may go every other year, every third year, is that we've seen the progression of what this looks like. But if you went in 2000 and you went again in 2008, and then you went again, like when it's more time in between, it may not be as easy to see that what you saw on your last trip 7 years ago is not going to be what it's like now, or even 3 years ago, or even pre-pandemic. The crowd trends are way different from what they were back then.
Mm-hmm. And we just have to keep up with the times.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I did drop a link to the crowd calendar in the chat, so that if people would like to go and check it out, they can.
Mm-hmm.
And even if your dates are decided for you, because like school calendars or work schedules, at least you'll know what to expect.
Yes. Yeah. And as always, if you go into it and it is a busier time of the year, the fact that you know that it's a busier time of the year puts you at a huge advantage over people who are just going on a Disney trip without any planning. So you will have a much better experience just solely on the basis that you know enough to know that there are fluctuations in the crowds.
Yeah, exactly. And planners always can be successful.
Mm-hmm. Would you consider, would you rather go during the August, September blocks of time when we know that the crowds are less busy because schools are back in session, and most people don't necessarily want to pull their kids out of school right at the beginning of the school year? There's no Run Disney events, and very limited, like any sporting events going on. So would you rather go during that time of the year when the crowds are lower, or in January when we know the weather is way better, but it's busier?
January.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still not bad.
Mm-mm.
And the weather takes off a certain amount of crowd points for me because my patience is so much better.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I can handle so much more. I don't mind standing in a line if I'm not drenched in sweat, and I am way more likely to go from park open to park close. on a January date than I will ever be in August or September.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we've done it.
Oh, yes.
We've
Yes. And
done all the months.
yes. And I mean, I wouldn't hesitate. Okay, I lied. I do hesitate a little bit when it comes to those July, August, September dates. I do it, for work. But if I was planning a personal trip, I would be more likely to, at this age of my life, when I'm hot all the time, I would be more likely to lean into the January dates and just do a lot of planning to make sure that I can maximize my time in the parks and minimize my time in the lines. I think I would
Mm-hmm.
get a better bang for my buck.
Mm-hmm. Plus, Festival of the Arts is happening.
And that's lovely. And the idea of wearing a jacket in the parks.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I don't really love Food and Wine. That's going on late August through November. Don't really love that. So if we're comparing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to choose January for a lot of different reasons.
And I do love Food and Wine. I think I love all the festivals. I just like having the additional options and maybe it's the gambler in me. Is it going to be good or is it going to be crap? Like that should be a new game that we play for the festivals. I like the opportunity to try lots of little things. So bring on the festivals. But I do think that Festival of the Arts holds a special place because I think there's so much, especially if you like just a browsing, if you like a farm and art market kind of scene, you get a lot of that in those early months. And again, have we mentioned the weather?
Mm-hmm. You have, and we will. Because it's so hot. The hottest I've ever been at Disney was in August.
Yeah.
And guess what? Probably be back this August. But it's hot where I live too, so it just is what it is. All right. Not a super chatty today. Today we have a couple of comments. Looking forward to this September 4th next year for 15 days.
Woo!
Okay, so now you have a crowd calendar and it's going to show you it's not busy.
No, and what I love about a 15-day trip though is you don't have to go hard every day. You can just pop in for a few hours when the temps are at the best and avoid the hottest part of the days and still get to see and do a ton.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Jess says, people forget they're not the only ones looking at crowd calendars. I was behind somebody who was complaining during a low time, and you can't save everybody, but I wanted to be like, yeah, we all saw that low time too. That might give crowd calendars too much credit because the truth is that Disney can do a lot to try to get people there, and they have.
Yeah.
Lots of promos and ads to get you thinking about going when lots of other people aren't.
Yeah.
So anyway. Okay, well, tomorrow we have another planning session and helping somebody else plan their trip. If you would like to be on, I'll put the link in the comments for the Google form that you can fill out. And then I'm reaching out to people to get them booked for future sessions. Basically, we chat with you for up to an hour and just walk through your plans so that you're ready for whatever you need to book. So I will drop that in the chat or in the comments. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll be back.